Hello, everyone. Back to Briefcase Joe's YouTube channel, and tonight's topic is NFL honors and the season-long awards. We have about 24 hours, almost exactly, until the Super Bowl starts. So I'm going to run through both my predictions for who will actually win, and then my suggestions for who I would favor. Start out with Coach of the Year. I think this one's an easy one. It'll be Sean McVay for the Rams. 31 years old, had a remarkable season, bringing the Rams back from a really mediocre season last year, and Jared Goff looking like he was a complete bust. There was talk of him not even not even being the starter this year, but of course he had an excellent year. And Sean McVay is viewed as a quarterback whisperer and great contributor to Goff's improvement. So he's going to be, I think, a shoe-in for that award. I think, however, it was a year where there are several other good candidates. Peterson with the Eagles, and Sean McDermott with the Bills, and also I think you can't ignore the job Bill Belichick did again with the Patriots, but he's not going to win. However, with their injuries and just keeping the team together through some tension throughout the season, might have been one of Belichick's better performances after the very rough start. But Sean McVay will win Coach of the Year. Defensive Rookie of the Year, I think this one is also fairly clear, and that would be Marshawn Lattimore, cornerback for the Saints. He had an excellent year, was consistent from the beginning, and looked like a real star. I think Tre'Davious White also had a great year for the Bills, but not quite at the level of Lattimore. Offensive Rookie of the Year, I think there are three candidates that really deserve mention, and probably could have won in any if there was a year where there were less competition. First one to mention is Deshaun Watson, who looked like a real budding superstar. He didn't play that many games. I think it was only 6 or 7 games, and some of his numbers weren't very good, but definitely has that star quality. So he will be around for years to come, we hope. So the real contest here is between the two running backs, Alvin Kamara and Kareem Hunt. Kamara, of course, with the Saints, really transformed their offense into mostly a now quick-hitting, running and backfield passing offense, which is an element that they never had. He made Mark Ingram, his teammate, a much better player, being able to have not really a running back by committee, but really just more of a two-headed monster with both speed, receiving ability, and ability to run between the tackles. So he's a great candidate. I'm going to give it by just a whisker to Kareem Hunt for Kansas City. He had a fantastic first few games, really kept the Chiefs going, and then ran into some fairly pedestrian games in the middle of the year. Came back on again a little stronger at the end. Had the numbers. I think he had dynamism that you don't see that often, and I think I will give it to him by just a shade over Kamara. Now to the bigger awards. Defensive Player of the Year, several very strong candidates. No one was really dominant this year. Had a couple good pass rushers, DeMarcus Lawrence for the Cowboys and Cam Jordan. Haywood for Pittsburgh was good. I think there are 3 players who probably are the leading candidates. Xavier Rhodes from Minnesota. They had a great defense, and he was a big part of it. But he did have a lot of help with Barr and Griffin, Smith, of course, safety, who's possibly a candidate in his own right. The other great defense was Jacksonville, and I think their leader, the guy who really put them over the edge to be a real dominant defense, was Calais Campbell. Play all over the front line and was very dominant. But I will again give it to to someone who I think is just a little more consistent and has been there for a little longer at the very highest echelon, and that's Aaron Donald of the Rams. I think he was just completely dominant player throughout every game, start to finish in each game, start to finish in the season, and I think he's a special player, and I would give it to him this year. It's kind of interesting we don't have quite the normal pass rushers like Khalil Mack and Von Miller, who had decent years, but definitely took a little bit step back from last year. Offensive Player of the Year will be my runner-up to the MVP, and that's Todd Gurley. His numbers were fantastic throughout the year. Really bounced back from a fairly mediocre year last year after a great rookie season, but he really was the most important part of that Rams offense, and took a lot of pressure off Goff and allowed Goff to blossom without the spotlight being on him throughout the season. So Gurley was really a stellar performer. I think in any other year he probably could have won the MVP, but this year MVP will be Tom Brady of the New England Patriots. Once again, there's really not much to say. His numbers were great. These are one of his best statistical years. The team was started out 2-2, and then won every game except for a game near the end of the year to Miami. Led the league in passing yards. Led the league in second in fewest interceptions. He used the deep ball a lot more this year than in past, adding Brandon Cooks. So I think it is basically a quarterback award. You can't really deny the dominance of a quarterback in this generation's NFL. So I give it to Brady. Walter Payton Man of the Year. I think my prediction here would be J.J. Watt from his incredible fundraising efforts after the Hurricanes. I think Greg Olsen would probably be a worthy candidate given his long history of nominations and not having won it. But I think the publicity and the obvious economic benefits that came from Watt's efforts, I think will give him the award this year. So that's it. I might do a pre-Super Bowl prediction show, but I'll tune in for that later. Thank you.